Please be aware this was recorded during the closed beta, which means things could change, numbers may be tweaked, and I will add captions to this video if they do. However, I do not expect playstyles to change, but I will come back and redo the guide if required. Reaper is an unnamed, remorseless terrorist who is believed to be the result of a failed genetic experiment that left him with hyper-accelerated cell decay and regeneration. He feeds on the life force of his foes to combat the decay and feed the regeneration. Let's get into his abilities and see what he's all about. Reaper's weapons are his Hellfire shotguns, short-range spread weapons. These fire 20 pellets per shot that at close range deal 7 damage each for a total of 140 damage from each blast. And at 2 blasts a second, Reaper can output 280 damage per second. The damage falls off drastically over distance, down to 2 damage per pellet with a spread that is hard to land on small targets. Any headshots are double damage. Reaper's shift ability is Wraith Form. Move faster and become invulnerable, but you cannot shoot. This lasts 3 seconds and makes Reaper immune to all offensive abilities and damage and removes all debuffs. While in Wraith form, Reaper can still pick up soul globes, health packs, and be healed, but he cannot cancel the ability once started. Reaper's E ability is Shadow Step, teleport to a target location. Press E, then aim at the destination and left click to teleport or right click to cancel. It has a 35 meter range, and once the left mouse button has been pressed, it takes 2 seconds to cast and cannot be cancelled. Reaper's passive is The Reaping. Collect soul globes to restore health. Whenever an enemy dies, whether Reaper was involved in their death or not, a soul globe that only Reaper can see will drop. This orb will restore 50 HP to Reaper when collected. Reaper's ultimate is Death Blossom. Damage all nearby enemies. This lasts 3 seconds and will deal 170 damage per second to any enemy within an 8 meter radius. Reaper can move while the ability is casting, but he cannot cancel it, and he is not immune. He can be stunned, damaged, and killed. Okay, that's the ability, so when should you play Reaper? He is a versatile point-blank range damage dealer who excels at destroying frontline tanks with his high DPS, but can also use flanks and high ground to harass and assassinate key targets with surprise hit and run attacks. This is stronger when attacking, but his high damage against tank heroes can be good on defense. Reaper is a very easy hero to play. Even if you are still learning the maps and don't recognize the areas he can flank and gank, you can still do a lot for your team by supporting your front lines and dealing big damage to the enemy tanks. The close range requirement for damage and large spread means you don't have to have incredible accuracy to get the hurt done. Reaper is a hero I cannot recommend enough for newer players, but his flanking playstyle does have depth and there is plenty to learn. He must get into close range to deal his damage and usually save his Wraith form to escape. If Wraith form is used to engage an attack, Reaper will often end up doing less reaping and more spawn room cardio. Use Shadow Step to teleport behind the enemy or into an unseen place nearby, but be careful, you are very vulnerable for the 2 seconds it is casting. If you are able to get above them without being seen, this will give you a big advantage. The element of surprise is essential to flanking effectively on Reaper. If he is seen, the enemy will prepare and you can get shut down. Once Reaper has the jump on the enemy, deal as much damage as possible. You should be looking to take out high value squishy supports like Zenyatta and Mercy, or snipers like Widowmaker and Hanzo, although if you can get in close and not be crowd controlled, you should be able to kill almost anyone. Once the damage is done, collect the soul globes if needed and use Wraith form to get out of there. The soul globe passive and health packs dotted around the map should mean Reaper can survive behind enemy lines and doesn't need to come back to his supports for healing very often, so make sure to pick them up when you've taken damage. Wraith form can also be used to dodge stuns from heroes like McCree and Roadhog, allowing you to take them down when they have an advantage. Just keep in mind, if you use Wraith form and they didn't stun you, you probably want to run and come back later. Reaper's weakness is his short range. Try to avoid open spaces, stick to the shadows and corridors wherever possible so the enemy can't use their superior range against you. Watch out for Pharah and Lucio, whose knockbacks can keep Reaper at range, and McCree's Fan the Hammer is enough burst to kill Reaper before Reaper kills McCree, even without the flashbang stun. Although I often find this is more of a skill matchup and not a direct counter. Reaper's ultimate is another big play of the game maker that you cannot get off by just wraith forming into the enemy and pressing Q. This probably will work against new players, but it won't be long before you will get shut down with that kind of play. Use all the sneaky tactics already discussed to surprise the enemy, or use it during a teamfight where your allies are distracting them and heroes like Reinhardt, Winston or D.Va can protect you. You can also synergize with other friendly ultimates from Zarya, Mei and Reinhardt. These guys will lock them down while you annihilate them. And that about wraps up Reaper. Use sneakiness to surprise the enemy and take out big threats, or deal massive damage to tanky front lines, then devastate groups of enemies with his ultimate. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please click that like button. If you have any questions or disagree with anything said, please put it in the comments below. I'm intending to have all 21 release heroes covered before the game is out on May 24th, so subscribe to get all that future content. Take it easy, and I'll see you soon.